Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ATJ Sports Podcast. I'm AJ.
I'm TJ.
We got a lot to get into this episode. I'm gonna let TJ get negative about the Spurs at some point. We will be talking Giannis, get in to a tad bit of baseball. But as he is going to close his door, for those of you that don't know, this happened since our last episode. This man happened. The New York Knicks are your your 2025-2026 season NBA champions. It still feels really surreal. Honestly, the parade happened today. I wanted to go to it. The money it took to get to that parade is just money that I don't have right now. So that it just wasn't happening. Probably also wasn't the safest idea if I decided I wanted to show face that parade either. Um, there was a stretch in there where we didn't lose for 44 days. That's just like stuff like that just doesn't feel real when like that I've been saying this team from top to bottom is loaded all year. Obviously in the regular season we didn't play like it. Really only for like a month stretch we didn't play like it. We had some bad games for a month, like our NBA Cup hangover. Um to win the NBA Finals, man. 53 years it's been since the Knicks. I mean, you could see the city is still now going. The streets have been filled for a week now. No one's leaving. Area's packed. Today they were going ridiculous. People are still getting arrested left and right. Bunch of ridiculous shit. As they should, man. Have a great time with it. Um Oh, pretty much everything I said in this playoffs that I thought would happen outside of the Thunder being around happened, and especially when it comes to the guy that wears number 11 for the New York Knicks. Obviously, I am a Knicks fan, so there is going to be bias put into what I'm saying because that's just how it works. I love Jalen Brunson. He's completely changed my life as a sports before the playoffs started, he was in conversations with Tyrese Halliburton, with Tyrese Maxey, with LaMelo Ball. We're done with those. If you don't firmly have him in the top eight, I don't know if I could really talk basketball with you at this point. Now, if you want to leave him outside the 10 because defense and certain things, but obviously I'm not the kind of person that's just going to say he's a top five basketball player in the world. I understand he has a lot of deficiencies where other players don't. However, in the playoffs, I will confidently tell you there is no other man on this planet that I would rather have on my team. And the conversation that I think he is in right now is after watching him this playoff run, I do believe he has, in my opinion, he is, and he has an argument to be the best scorer of the basketball in the world. And in the regular season, is he? No. In the regular season, as coverages, they don't send the same coverages. In the playoffs, that's the best basketball you're going to see. Coverages are going to dense up. They're going to send more doubles. They're going to try and take the best player on the team away from the basketball. That's why you see players like Shea struggle. They make you try and do what you're not good at. When you watch Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, there's not a shot he can't get to. Pull up threes, catch and shoot threes, working off the midi, getting to the basket. He was able to get to the basket on probably the greatest rim protector we've ever seen in our lifetimes. So I think someone who should be in that conversation is Luka. I think he didn't get to play in the playoffs, so I think that's fair if people still have Luka. I think Luka's mid-range game is still a struggle. I think Shea's pull-up three game and some of his three game still leaves a lot left on the table, even though I think he'll be better next season, obviously. Like the things we got to ask from the superstars in our generation is like in 2013, people told LeBron, like, hey, like you're the best player in the world. Add some type of fadeaway jump shot. LeBron added a better mid-range game, a better jump shot. Like these players are great. Nikola Jokic, figure out how to deter somebody from the rim at some point. Shea, continue to work on your three ball. Jokic, add a mid-range game. Like we should still get to the point where we're asking for the best player in the world, the best players in the world. Because at this point, after I don't think There's like five guys. If you told me that you thought they were the best player in the world, I wouldn't be upset. I'm lying for it. If you told me that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world, I'd be pissed off. Um, I think the NBA and best player of the world is wide open at this point. I think Wemby to the world had a hold on it after the Thunder series where they beat Shea, but I think playing the New York Knicks exposed that Wemby still has a lot offensively to work on his game. But outside of that, man, the New York Knicks are NBA champions. We played. The problem is like looking back on the series and watching the games back, we didn't play really good basketball any of the games. I mean, Jalen Brunson scored half our points. Ridiculous, by the way. Like the people in closeout games that have scored 40 points or more is Jalen Brunson. That's it. There's no other guards. Giannis did it as a guard. Jalen Brunson's the only guard that's done it. Giannis did it as a forward. That's it. So, that game was spectacular. OG Anunoby outside of game five was amazing. Game five, I don't really know what he was up to. Karl Anthony Towns, people were making the argument after games one and two that he should be the finals MVP. Games three, four, and five was nowhere to be seen, but him and his stupid fouls are going to continue to be a thing. Our bench was awful. After game one, Landry Shamet, Deuce, they were all terrible for a long stretch of time.
This was awful the entire playoff run except for one game against
Just
the Sixers.
it was getting to the point where we were starting to call Deuce Miles McBride instead of Deuce McBride. It was seriously getting to that
Yeah, we're called him Miles.
point. So,
No, you just called him Miles.
um, Josh Hart had his usual, I believe it was the game we lost where he had his random where he makes like five threes game for just because he feels like it. Mikal Bridges was very good. Game four, he was non-existent. Games one, especially game two and game five, he was our second best player, not named Jalen Brunson in game five. Um, it's just the run for us. This is such a big moment for New York also because like this is something that we had to capitalize on now because the East is, as we'll talk about the offseason in a minute, is going to get so much better next year. And the teams in the West also aren't going anywhere. So like everyone before this season understood this is your moment. It's been 53 years. Go win a ring. And they got out and got it done. So these dudes like now are like heroes in New York. Like I think they got the key to the city today. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby probably won't have to pay for a single thing in New York. Jose Alvarado is probably never gonna have to pay for a thing in New York again. That dude was clutch off the bench. Shout out to him. Um, it's just the little moves we made, man, compared to last year where we also Mike Brown coached. Now, the Spurs coach, Mitch Johnson, did not coach a good series, but Mike Brown coached a great series with the schemes that he developed to put Wemby in certain boxes, to get Jalen Brunson his open looks, to get Cat open, to let Mikal play, for us to swing the ball. And before I let you get negative on the Spurs real quick, I will say this. The Spurs offense was bad. Yes. I think our defense was good. I think statistically in this Knicks run, it is arguably like obviously the competition we didn't play, but like pure like I think we had tied for first greatest record of all time in the playoffs with the 17 Warriors with Kevin Durant. Our point differential was like plus 280. Like we dominated teams almost the entire playoff run until we got to the Spurs. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I don't think we'll see a run like that again, really, ever. And I think we really showed like what like team basketball is. Like these Knicks, especially with the Nova guys and Karl Anthony Towns, were like, were we the most talented team? No. Or I mean, we were talented pretty much more than everyone except for the Spurs. But we were just the better team, as in trusting each other, close with each other, ball movement, and that. So, but that defense, I believe, are the best ranked defense in the playoffs, maybe ever. And I believe the Spurs were second. So That and there were some plays where I didn't post them yet. I've been busy the past 2 weeks. The Knicks are doing perfect offense. They're getting paint touches, they're swinging it around, continuously getting paint touches, and the Spurs are just everywhere. Now it helps having a 7'5" guy who just kind of clogs the paint. So that is one thing. But like Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox all played great defensively, even though Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox were terrible offensively in the series. But you know, we brought it home here in New York. Finally, I finally seen the championship win in my 19 years of life. It feels amazing. I got all the positive things I had to say about the Knicks out. I'm gonna let Troy be negative about the San Antonio Spurs and say what you got to say about
It's
that.
not even. I can't even speak on the Spurs. I can only speak on Chet Holmgren at this point because this is his fault entirely. If he just had a lick of fight in him at all, then we wouldn't have had to watch the awful Spurs fourth quarters for 5 straight games. It's literally that man's fault entirely. But I mean, like I said in the last podcast, as soon as the Spurs won Game 7, I'm like, you guys won the championship because, like you said, it's just they have too many. They matched up better with the Thunder, whereas the Thunder matched up better with you guys.
Yep.
But they could expose the Thunder's flaws, which was big man play, and they were able to do that. So,
Yep.
which is the strength of your guys' team. But yeah, I mean, Mitch Johnson, you coached very awfully, considering you knew your team was young. You knew that the nerves wouldn't kick in until they'd kick in the first quarter and they kick in the fourth quarter because the start of the game and the end of the game. But he would not help his young guys slow the game down in the fourth quarter, especially when they needed to. Like they had 10-point leads in every single game,
Yeah.
and that's saying a lot, given they were also were up by 29 at one point in the game and lost. So it's just like, and they're still up there sprinting down the court, hucking up threes
Yeah.
at the end of the third quarter, going into the
Yeah.
fourth. It's just like it's pretty easy to tell as a fan with no emotion towards the game that it's like, it's obviously easier said than done, but yeah, just slow your guys down. They're young, and the Knicks they don't have the championship experience and playoff experience like that, but they do have the age on them, and they've also the starting lineup has won in college, so they've been there before.
Yeah.
They've been on a stage like that before. Whereas you got guys over there who came from like Stephon Castle, whatever.
Yeah.
Fox came from Sacramento, like Wemby came from France. He hasn't.
Dylan
This is
Harper
his
was
first
at Dylan Harper was at Rutgers. So
Rutgers. Like Champagny was at St. John's when they weren't elite.
when they were awful. So I
Yeah.
mean,
You guys obviously like not being the dickhead, but like you guys had the easier run and you took advantage of it. Like that's all it is. You got to take advantage of it still at the end of the day. Like the hardest draw you guys had was the Hawks in round 1. That was the hardest matchup you guys got. It was supposed to get harder than that. It wasn't
you
supposed to be the
Haw- I
hardest.
mean, Hawks fans are living their best life right now on the internet, saying that they got 2 games on a super team, blah blah blah, this that, like one of the best playoff teams we've ever seen. The Hawks got 2 wins. Um, that Hawks team, like I tried telling people they were a really good basketball team. Like they still have their flaws, but like they like to get out and sprint, like I said. But when you slow the game down, we slowed the game down against them, which isn't particular our style. But like when you have a point guard at the level that we have, that can slow the game down. That's what the Hawks are missing, which they're looking into trading for someone right now, which is interesting. But we'll get to that in a minute. But the Spurs, a report came out now in the offseason, right? Especially at this time, right after the season just finished. A lot of bullshit comes out that's not true in the NBA. There's bunch of lying flying left and right. The reports right now are the Spurs are not interested in trading De'Aaron Fox and they intend on keeping him. Now, I don't disagree. I disagree with that decision because of how good Dylan Harper obviously just showcased to the world. That kid is a stud. He's the future of the San Antonio Spurs. I think the San Antonio Spurs future, if they want to be the best team possible, is if now Dylan Harper, I'm not saying he has to be their best player, But I think the San Antonio Spurs' best team is if Dylan Harper is their best offensive player. Because Wemby, the things that Wemby struggles with at 7'5" aren't getting better. Like, yeah, his handle's cool, but Wemby's 7'5". So, like, even if he's good at dribbling the ball, there's dudes that are a foot lower to the ground than he is. Like, the ball has to go up so far for him to even dribble. He doesn't have a shot to go to. Like I said, he's 7'5", so he's going to be scrawny for like it's going to be hard to put weight on that frame. So he's going to get pushed around in the playoffs for majority of his career. So I just think the best offense would be engined by Dylan Harper adding a better right hand and getting better with a mid-range shot and more consistent three-point shooting. Like he's still very raw. Like he's going to be 20 years old, or I think he's 20 years old right now. He's going to be 21. Still very raw. And Stephon Castle's role needs to be get the ball to those two and get the hell out the way because that was disgraceful what he put on the past couple games. Um, but the problem is right now, I think keeping De'Aaron Fox wouldn't be in the team's worst interest because I don't think Dylan Harper's where he needs to be as a shooter yet. And having Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle on the court at the same time as of right now, I don't know. Even if you have that lineup, their defense is going to be good enough where their offense almost doesn't matter. But once you run into a team like, say, the Nuggets get better next year, or you run into a Thunder, you're going to have to score the ball at some point. Or even if you run into the Knicks or maybe the Celtics make it out next year, at some point you're going to have to put the ball in the basket. And that's what De'Aaron Fox can help with. Was he very good at it this series? No, but like De'Aaron Fox doesn't struggle getting to his spots. Like that, he was just missing shots this series. He was missing open threes, he was missing step back, pull back mid ranges. Like he was getting his looks. Because when De'Aaron Fox is on, it's almost impossible to guard him with how fast he is. Like it almost looks ridiculous. But what's your thoughts about them keeping De'Aaron Fox around and what moves that they can generally
It's
make?
easy to people obviously like based off of how the playoffs ended, like it's easy to be like, yo, get that guy out of here. But
Right.
I mean, he's going to help your team out and just the experience because like we said, bro, like the Aaron Fox, I'm checking right now. Like the last time this dude was in the playoffs, like I don't know if there was a last time.
No, he the one time he went where the Kings had like that crazy series with the Warriors where it went 7 games, but they lost in the first round. I
Yeah.
think the Kings were like a
And
3 seed that year, and they ended up playing the Warriors, and it was
mhm.
a
And
great
that year
series.
he was third team All NBA and clutch player of the year.
Yeah.
So it's like this is a different type of De'Aaron Fox we're talking about here. He especially given the role, he was the main player, the main scorer on that team right now.
The and because the coach of the Kings at that time was Mike Brown. Like the way the Kings offense was centered was run and gun. Like we're gonna score 120 points per game. De'Aaron Fox is gonna get the ball and we're sprinting up and down the court. Defense isn't being played here. Like we're gonna maximize offense. The Spurs play a slower type of physical basketball, and De'Aaron Fox's role sometimes is generally just sitting in the corner or being the clutch guy. But was he clutch when he was with Sacramento for that 1 year? Yes. But like when you think of clutch guys, like you think of people that are able to slow the game down and get to a shot that they need to do. De'Aaron Fox isn't someone who's really like slowing the game down. Like that's never been the type of basketball player he was. He wasn't that in college. He hasn't been that in the NBA. Like he did play for the Kings, yes, but he's not. Slowing down isn't the pace of play he likes to play at. So getting him to be your clutch, make the shot in the last 2 minute guy, I don't really like that fit because that doesn't fit his play style. Like he likes to go crazy. Like that's why was it a dumb decision to go up there and take that layup at the end of game 4 that OG blocked? Yes. But like that's how he plays basketball at the end of the day. He's fast, he's aggressive. If I was De'Aaron Fox, I probably wouldn't think that OG Anunoby was catching up to me anyways, but OG Anunoby's OG Anunoby. So it's one last thing I have to get off my chest before we move into the Miami Heat sweepstakes. Um, this man right here, right? This guy, the King of New York, right? Um, I think he has now moved himself. Obviously, I said earlier in the top 8 player conversations. Um, I think he's moved himself into arguably top 10 point guard all time conversations. I think he's better than Steve Nash. I kind of pump the brakes when we get to names like Russell Westbrook. I've been seeing like opinions out there because when it comes to, it's so weird with Russell Westbrook because when it comes to who I'd rather have on my team, I would probably say Jalen Brunson. But when it comes to who just the better basketball player is, Russell Westbrook's the greatest. Like his one season, he has one of the best basketball. I'm a Russell Westbrook stan, so that is a conversation that will be getting uncomfortably soon. Trying to just Russell Westbrook's negative impact shooting, but like he was a much better defender, playmaker. Like just the things he did on the court were unreal. Um, Kyrie Irving, stop it. This is ridiculous. He had one good year in 2016. He tried to lead a team by himself after he left LeBron. He lost in the first round. He's been ridiculous. I mean, he's been the second best player everywhere he's went. We're not having this conversation. He's a guy that averages like 25 points per game. That's cool. He had one great finals run in 2016 that we all talk about. Outside of that, in the playoffs, he's been abysmal. This is not the same level. He has a great handle. When he's on, he's on. He's not on that much. This Jalen Brunson Kyrie conversation, I'm not listening to it. It's not, it's ridiculous. We're moving past people like that. Damian Lillard, you've lost your mind. Next question. That guy, sure, he was in Portland, whatever. He got to Milwaukee. He still wasn't very good. So I'm his dudes that play great in the regular season, like Damian Lillard was a great regular season player. He has no mid-range game and he shoots a lot of dumb ass threes, which look cool when you make game winners, sure. But when he's 8 for 30 in a playoff game, it doesn't look as cool. I think people, Jason, like within like the Steve Nash, Jason Kidd combos, John Stockton, that's ridiculous that we people still entertain John Stockton these days. I think he's on the fringe of top 10. I think he needs to put together more years because this has only been a 4 year sample size where he's doing the ridiculous stuff he's doing right now. So I still do think he needs to stack more years on doing what he's doing, which I still think he's got 2 good years left in him. Um, but I think he's fringe top 10. I will think when it's all said and done, he will be a top 10 basketball player. But we'll move off of that because now we are firmly entrenched in the offseason of the NBA. And we have a Miami Heat fan on this platform and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who at this point, if the New York Knicks didn't win a championship, was probably going to be the Knicks. Now the Knicks sat here and won the NBA championship, so now the doors are open. Within the next 4 days, he should probably be traded because I'd assume they want to trade him before the draft. So, as a Miami Heat fan, I'll let you get your thoughts off on whether or not you want Giannis and what you should get up and how hard you should be pursuing to get this monster on your basketball team.
I want Giannis because, for one, the Heat's issue has never been big. Like, I can't say never. We've never had a dominant big man. We've had dominant defensive big men. We've had LeBron, but like we're just at the point where we've tried a whole bunch of things with guards and it's just not going to work. It has not worked out. We've never had a dominant guard. We've had Dwayne Wade guard forward, but I mean, we've never had a dominant point guard in my lifetime. So, in order to counter that, you have to improve defense and big man play. So, and Bam he's a forward at heart. He plays big man for us. He's a natural four, but if we get Giannis and Bam on the same team for one, defense is going to be easy to play down low. Um, and like I just want it's going to shift our future. So like instead of continuing to draft people and we're just always mid,
Right.
you get a
Yeah.
superstar like, and that'll just change how you play the draft from there on out. Now you can focus heavily on guards and developing guards with the good big men that you have, and it's going to be real easy for whoever our next point guard is, considering Tyler Hero is probably gone.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just like, yeah, it's just going to make everybody's job easier at the end of the day. So I'm willing to give up as long. I mean, like we're going to keep Bam out of bio. We're not that stupid,
Yeah, Bam
but I mean,
Adebayo. The trade reports, pretty much the package the Miami Heat are looking to send is obviously whatever combination of picks Milwaukee wants, and it's been Casper, Tyler Hero, and Khalil Ware. Now, the problem as of right now is reportedly,
Morris, bro, they're taking Kasparis.
I'd assume so. It's like that guy's the beast. I would
I hope
assume
not, man.
The problem is the report is coming out yesterday of the Miami Heat. That's why the odds shifted of where Giannis is going to go, which I'll talk about after this, which terrifies me if he goes to this team. Um, the Miami Heat are not interested and really don't want to move off Khalil Ware, which is the most interesting thing going on because Khalil Ware is an amazing talent. When Khalil Ware was going into the draft, I told TJ, I said, hey, listen, I said, this is the guy I want the Knicks to get. Then the Heat took him and he was like, oh, this is the dude. I was like, yeah, this guy's a monster. Now, he shows flashes of greatness and superstar potential when he's on the floor. What's crazy is there's sometimes where the Miami Heat are just giving him DNPs and or he's playing like 15 minutes a game. So for them to not want to ship him off, but also not want to play him as much as he should be playing, really makes me scratch my head about like what this organization is even trying to accomplish sometimes. Because players like Giannis don't grow on trees. Like in my opinion, this guy's the best player in the world. He solves a lot of issues. If you can put together a defense of Davion Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, and Giannis, that's unreal. Now Giannis the past 2 years hasn't been the best defender as his DPOY years. But that's also because he doesn't have Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton around him. You insert Giannis around Bam Adebayo and Davion Mitchell, that takes a lot of defensive pressure off of him. Like you got to understand with the Milwaukee Bucks, he's playing with Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. Those two dudes play no defense whatsoever, non-existent. So he has to damn near carry the entire load back there. Um, I think it is a move that the Miami Heat won. Now, also the Miami Heat, as of yesterday, if they don't get Giannis, because Giannis seems to be trending somewhere else, have been pivoting to Kawhi Leonard talks. It's going to be a lot less to acquire Kawhi Leonard, but how would you feel about pivoting to Kawhi if Giannis is not what you guys get?
I think that Kawhi would be a safer option for us just because of where he plays. He can we don't like we have Jaime Jaquez off the bench, but he's obviously not Kawhi Leonard. So
Right.
like you improve scoring, you improve defense in the middle of the lineup. You keep Khalil Ware, you keep Bam Adebayo. Um I don't think they take Khalil Ware considering they have Niederhauser, who obviously is not a scorer, but I mean the draft's coming up. You don't need to give up too much. Kawhi, I think he's older than Giannis, correct?
Yeah, by a pretty wide margin.
Probably around the similar age, but
I think
yeah,
Giannis is like
I'd rather
30.
have Giannis because of how dominant he is
Right.
in the physicality. But yeah, and his play will translate into the playoffs. So
Yeah. I think the problem for that Heat team that I think they'd have to figure out is if you get Giannis and you're taking Tyler Hero away, Giannis is not someone who is going to close games for you. So we've seen that. That's why the Bucks had Chris Middleton. Um, so I think they need to add someone at that point. Well, I guess they have Norman Powell, but I wouldn't really be too confident in Norman Powell. He was an all-star this year. Like Norman Powell's a great basketball player. I think Norman Powell will get even better with what Giannis brings to the table because obviously if I'm the Miami Heat, man, this bullshit that we've been doing around where we're rumored for every single superstar for the past 6 years and we're trading for none of them is ridiculous. It's got to stop. Like you're gonna keep your team's not bad enough to get a top 10 pick. Your team's not good enough to get outside the top 15 or top 16. Like you're going
but
to
then
keep.
again, us being so conservative all those years has actually gotten us in a good spot for Giannis at this point. Because
Right,
now we're just mid everywhere, so we have all the depth that we need to be okay trading anybody. Mind you, we paid Nikola Jovic, our first round pick a couple years ago.
right.
We extended him for a while. So and obviously like none of these guys are Giannis, but we have enough depth at every position to where if we trade the top guy in that position, we'll be fine, especially if it's coming with Giannis. So yeah, I feel like I mean, the league's too good. We're not gonna go for a championship anytime soon, but at least we'll be able to compete in the playoffs. So
But not even like going for like Giannis increases your like I understand he only played like 20 games this year and people forgot what this man is. Giannis Antetokounmpo, in my opinion, is the best player in the world and instantly rises your team ceiling to a completely whole different level. Like got to understand what he does for the Miami Heat is instantly that defense would be nuts. Like I said with Davion Mitchell, Davion Mitchell is continuing to improve as a shooter year by year. He's still not where they need him to be, but he's getting better. Um, Norman Powell being around them, like their offense isn't going to be the greatest, but they are going to continue to build. And then they have Giannis, who is going to get them 32 and 10 and look like he's not even breaking a sweat. So that also,
I'll also say, like, our team that we'd have around Giannis is better than the team that he won with the Bucks, given they had Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, whatever. But like I just feel like we have a better constructed roster all the way around. They didn't win with Dame, obviously, but yeah, we're
and
also not
then
gonna like yeah, the
and
NBA is
then
too good at this.
you have Bam, you have Mr. 83, who is going again continue to work on his three ball, which they're going to give him, especially when Giannis is on your team. They're going to let you shoot. Now, the team that Giannis has now been flipped and rumored to go to completely, which terrifies the living shit out of me, is the Boston Celtics. Um, if they pair Jason Tatum with Giannis Antetokounmpo, that is going to be a disgusting duo. I don't really know what you do surrounding that. The problem with them doing that is Jaylen Brown's out the window. So the packages that I've seen is that if Giannis is traded to the Bucks, it is going to be a three-team deal most likely, where Milwaukee's just collecting a ton of picks and Hugo Gonzalez and Jaylen Brown either gets sent to the Portland Trailblazers, he gets sent to the Atlanta Hawks. I forget what the other team was, but it was someone, it might have been the San Antonio Spurs, and someone's flipping, and De'Aaron Fox is getting flipped to Milwaukee at some point. Um,
I just hope, given his personality, I just hope he does not do that. I feel like obviously he wants to win a championship again, but I just feel like that the Celtics obviously has a star power, but I don't know if that's a fit for everybody on that team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Now
obviously, having all these good players will help you win, but
Giannis is what has been shown with Milwaukee is Giannis's best fit is when he's playing with another big who can space the floor. Like when he got to play with Brooke Lopez, like that was his best fit. It what the Celtics I'd assume is I do not believe you can play Kata and Giannis on the floor at the same time. So I'd assume they try and move Giannis on to the five and they'd play spread out and they'd let Giannis. I don't really know how you guard that, but the problem still remains the same with me. If you're a Celtics fan, is even if you do make that, like that is going to be an insanely fun. Like watching Jason Tatum and Giannis is probably going to be a fun and entertaining watch. That team is still going to be so predicated on shooting so many threes off of Giannis's defensive attention. And the Celtics' problem last year wasn't even the fact that they had open shots against Philly, they just weren't making them. They were just missing. So I would
yeah.
be worried about that. And also like even if the Celtics do get Giannis, I don't think that pushes them like above us because their bench is still miserable. Like I said it last going into the playoffs
Yeah.
this year that their bench is still terrible. If you're trading for Giannis, you're getting rid of Jaylen Brown, who's already proven that he can win an NBA championship with you and Jason Tatum, and you're getting rid of Hugo Gonzalez, who's one of your best bench pieces and defenders. So your bench is just getting worse with the trade of Giannis, plus you're giving up picks to make this happen. So
I also believe that the Bucks would get more out of what we give them. Rather, like obviously you get Jaylen Brown, but I don't think they're worried about contending. So like having Jaylen Brown for whatever, like
no, if they
you
if they make that trade, Jaylen Brown's getting sent somewhere else. It's gonna have to be a three-team
okay.
deal. So like if
Yeah, I
if
got you.
if I was the Atlanta Hawks, I'd be all over this deal happening. Like I'd love it. I'd want Jaylen Brown right now to come in and fill a spot of somebody that can slow the game down, be our number one guy, help Jalen Johnson out, where Jalen Johnson can now strictly be a playmaker and doesn't have to be the one where he has to score all the time because in the half court, Jalen Johnson's half court offense has shown not to be very good. And then you add in Nikhil Alexander Walker all of a sudden being ridiculous shooting from three, and you add in Onyeka Okongwu. They probably still need to get a backup big, but like that team is going to be really good if they add Jaylen Brown. And then if they send Jaylen Brown to the San Antonio Spurs, then my God, I don't even know like. That would be ridiculous. That now I know I said our last podcast that like super teams aren't built, but if you stick Jaylen Brown with Victor Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, and that would just be that'd be unreal. No one would beat them. We might as well just send to the championship at that point because that'd be pointless. Because then they'd have the guy that would get them their mid-range buckets late in games. Even though like I think it's more likely to happen because I think the Celtics, after watching us win the championship, are desperate to do something. I think Jaylen Brown wants out of Boston. Not even necessarily wants out of Boston. I think he's just ready to be the number one option on his team. I think after doing that last year, he had a good season. I think he's now no longer intrigued on trying to play backup to Jason Tatum. So I think that will happen. I hope he gets sent to Atlanta because that'd be really interesting. But when it comes to the draft, I don't. The New York Knicks have picked 24. In my opinion, with reports coming out saying that we are trying to be below the second apron, I think we most likely end up trading this pick. I don't think we use this pick. I don't know what we traded
Mm.
for. I guess we traded for another second round pick or something. I don't think we use it. If we do end up using pick 24, Zuby Ejiofor, monster. Isaiah Evans, I've been seeing a lot of Malik Thomas. If NBA GMs are stupid enough to let Malik Thomas fall to pick 24, then that is malpractice. GMs need to get fired. That shouldn't happen. You don't let a Calipari guard slash forward with that length, that kind of defense, and those kind of offense intangibles fall to pick 24. And if the number one guy that I've seen slipping, because obviously he didn't play last season because of his knee injury, if Jaden Quintons falls to pick 24. I believe the Lakers pick after us. So if we don't take him at 24, Jaden Quintons is going to get drafted by the Lakers instantly because that kid is a freak. Like the offensively, his game still needs to be polished up more. Defensively, what he shows is unreal. Like his presence, his shot blocking, his feel, his ability to move his feet for as big as he is. He's good at knocking down the three ball. He still has to add more into his intermediate game. But if you come to a team like the New York Knicks, hey buddy, we already have Carl. There is no better big man for him to learn from about being able to space the floor than Carl Anthony Towns. I think that puts him in a perfect situation to sit back, especially most likely in this offseason. We are with us announcing that we are going under the second, that we're not going to go over the second apron. It is very likely that Mitchell Robinson is not a New York Knick next year, which is very depressing considering the fact that since came here, maybe it was 2018, but he is the longest tenured Knick by far. We've watched him grow a lot from being a skinny dude who like flashy dunks on people and has a ton of blocks to being this big defensive menace who he just doesn't give up any points. So we're going to lose him and we're probably going to lose Landry Shamet. We keep Deuce and we keep Jose Alvarado possibly, but we need to fill a guard spot, so or a forward spot, and we need to get another backup big. So that is what I'll be looking for. Now the Miami Heat have pick 13.
20. Oh, 13. Yeah. Or I see
So
20. Who has pick 20? I just seen something about pick 20. That's why I said it. I
um
don't know. Just got a notification.
uh pick 20 is the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm really hoping that you didn't just get a notification because the Spurs made a move. I'm hoping
No,
not.
I don't think so. I just seen something earlier about pick 20. I don't know what it was about.
No, the Spurs have pick 20 from the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, I see.
You guys, this mock draft I'm looking on, you guys have pick 13 and you're projected to take Yaxel Lindebord.
Dear
So,
God, we would never know.
so
Probably not, buddy.
I honestly think a amazing pick. I don't know if he makes it. This mock draft has him falling all the way to 15. LeBaron Philon to the Miami Heat, if you guys don't trade for Giannis, would be a really interesting because, like you said, you guys haven't had that guard play. Um, he'd be a really good offensive spark. Bennett Sturts, I just don't think he fits really what you guys are trying to do. Really. Wow,
Oh, bro.
Koa Pete going to the Philadelphia 76ers would be such an ugly move. My God. Uh,
Dude, this guy has Chris Steinhack going to the Sixers and then has you guys drafting Bruce Thornton and then the Lakers getting Zuby Ejiofor. Well, now, why would the New York Knicks draft Bruce Thornton, bro?
when we already have a 6'2" guard, why would we draft
And
another?
he's old.
Why would we draft an old undersized guard when we already have an
Yeah.
undersized guard who just that doesn't even make? Because like point guard isn't because we're still gonna have Jose Alvarado on the team most likely next year. So point guard is probably I think at some point we got to get a big because Karl Anthony Towns has got 1 year left on his deal. Um, it'll be interesting to see if he is willing to take a budget cut. I highly doubt Karl Anthony Towns is willing to take a budget cut. And as we've
Whew.
seen, having a big man that can spread the floor like Karl Anthony Towns does is massive for Jalen Brunson can't get off what Jalen Brunson needs to get off, and the rest of the team doesn't have as much space to work around if we don't have Karl Anthony Towns. He's a massive piece to what we do. We need him. Um, so that should be interesting. That's why I think drafting Jaden Quaintance. Also, even though I think Zuby Ejiofor is just meant to play for the Knicks. I mean, obviously he played at St. John's. He played for 3 years at St. John's, played in MSG, was electric, continuously gets better at shooting the ball. Um, is a force defensively. Like he's a brick wall. He's not going to get moved. He's not the tallest, but his like the how hard he plays makes up for how short he is. And just the only problem with him would be in a situation where like if we have to play Victor Wembanyama, we'd probably be screwed. Like I mean that's just objectively what it is. But talking more into the draft, um, it has been like almost certain now that Debanza is going number one. Um, I said last night that I have like this weird feeling because that Darren Peterson. Now, in my opinion, I think both of these two dudes are amazing. They're going to be amazing basketball players. When you go back and watch what Darren, now obviously it was in high school, when you watch what Darren Peterson was doing and you watch the glimpses that he shows you at Kansas. If Kansas had a better team around him, I think we'd be having the way Kansas constructed their team around Darren Peterson was hideous. It was such an ugly team. I can't believe they got a player his caliber and stuck him around no one else that knew how to shoot the ball. It's ridiculous. But his offensive impact is so unreal. His shot making, the ability to get to his spots. Like I'm not saying offensively he's going to be in there, but like the way his how pretty his mid-range shot is, it really reminds me a lot of Shea. Like he's probably never going to reach that level. Like Shea is one of the most efficient scorers we've ever seen from the mid-range. But like the way he can get to a spot and just how fluid it looks. Like when he's in the zone, it just looks so easy. And defensively, I think he's better than what Debance is. The problem is Debance is a 6'9" lethal offensive forward that like I mean if you don't draft him you have the potential of looking insanely stupid because his talent is so unreal. I think both those two do I think you literally can't mess up 1 through 4 no matter where you go. I think the Chicago Bulls have the easiest job in this draft. You sit at 4, you wait for whoever doesn't get picked 1 through 3. I think it's most likely going to be Caleb Wilson. I think Caleb Wilson has the potential to be the best player out the 4 of them. I think all 3 of them for me have obviously they have different things to look about. I think all 3 of them all need to improve their 3-point shot making. I think that's something that all 3 of them not have like a massive question mark for. I think Caleb Wilson's probably the worst shooter out of all of them, but they all need to improve on it. Um, Caleb Wilson's the best defender out of them. I think the best playmaker, best decision maker, and more polished player is Cameron Boozer. I'm interested to see what he does going into the NBA though, because if you watch him in high school, he was a much better freak athlete. He went to Duke, they made him put on some weight so he could play bigger and play in the post. So I'm interested to see if he slims down or if he continues to stay the weight he's at and trying to play physical. But he could still spread the floor out though. So, but that fit with Memphis, though. I feel bad for him going to Memphis because he's not really going to have. much help around there as of right now. That Memphis is in a really ugly spot. Um, the Utah Jazz adding in, you're gonna have now. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do with this big man situation. You put Lauri Markkanen at the three, that's probably going to be hideous. You have Jaren Jackson, you have Keontae George, Darren Peterson, Ace Bailey, Sensible, um, Kessler, who denied $140 million last night after not playing. Just whoever's managing that guy is doing a terrible job. It is ridiculous. You have Nurkic who still comes off the bench. Like that team is going to be really good, and they're going to have bench pieces. Like you still have Collier over there. They're going to have bench pieces where I think they could be like a really sneaky like 5 to 6 seed in that conference because it's interesting to see what the Houston Rockets do. I think they suck. So, the Houston Rockets don't move me. Now they will get Fred Vliet back next year, so they will actually have a point guard, so that might help, but they still can't shoot the ball over there. Um, a lot of teams in that West is they're kind of the West is kind of in a pedestrian area right now where you have the Thunder and you have the Spurs who obviously aren't going anywhere. And then you look at the rest of them, you have the Lakers who they're trying to figure out what they want to do, whether or not they want to keep Austin Reeves. If the Lakers sign Austin Reeves to a max contract, they're cooked. So I'll put that out there. Um, they're figuring out whether or not they want to keep LeBron. Obviously, that's another story in the offseason is what does LeBron do? Because LeBron's always going to be the biggest story of the offseason. Um, you have you have the Nuggets who are kind of screwed money wise because Christian Braun's like ridiculous contract kicks in that they gave him and that they don't have a lot of flexibility. Aaron Gordon's still on the team, I believe. They're losing Peyton Watson most likely. They're going to have to draft a wing. The Timberwolves. Now, that is another team that was trying to trade for Giannis in the trade deadline, couldn't pull it off. I don't know what they give up to get Giannis. That is the developing problem. No one wants Julius Randle. It's unfortunate. I love you, Julius, for what you did for bringing the Knicks back to center stage. I wouldn't want Julius Randle. You couldn't pay me to take him on my team right now. So, Io's a free agent, so you can't even trade him unless you do a sign and trade. So they really have nothing to give up but Jane McDaniels and Naz Reid, but you're not trading both of those players. So Naz Reid's someone who a lot of people believe if you put him in the right system, like can be an all-star if he starts playing more minutes because of his three-point shot making. So, but
That's another thing whenever I talk about Nasri. I feel like if he was put in a position to start and develop his game more than just to be a bench bat, essentially, I think he'd be a better basketball player.
yeah.
So
That's the spot. The other spot Jaylen Brown was rumored to get traded to was the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, Brown, Benedict, Garland. I'd assume they'd move Kawhi somewhere else, but that's not a bad because I think Jaylen Brown is still like 29 years old, which I'm not gonna lie,
I think he's 20.
hearing
Yeah.
the fact that he's like 29 and Jason Tatum's like 28 really makes me feel old, like really old.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, and then the Warriors are stuck. Like a lot of those teams are stuck. The Trailblazers should get better. The Suns just there's no moves for them to make. And then you look at the East, the Detroit Pistons have to get somebody that can shoot the ball. Like I said all year, I Austin Reeves would probably be my pick if I was the Detroit Pistons of who I should go get. I've been seeing a lot of Austin Reeves to the Brooklyn Nets, which is just like
Pointless.
why? Like, and so the Brooklyn Nets are rumored to take Darius Acuff, and then they want to pair Darius Acuff with Austin Reeves. That's going to be worse than Luka and Austin Reeves defensively. So I don't understand that in the slightest. The Celtics are in the Giannis. Us, we're bringing damn near our entire team back, except we're losing Mitchell Robinson, so we got to go replace him in the draft. The Cavs, uh, you're either looking to trade people or you're looking to add LeBron. I don't know. The Cavs financially, it's either you get people out or you bring someone but like financially they can't take anyone unless LeBron decides he wants to come home on like a vet minimum. They're financially in a terrible spot. The Cavs are just kind of stuck in this purgatory area. Now the good thing for the Cavs is in the last 4 years, the team that's lost in the Eastern Conference Finals has made the NBA championship. I think that the Cavs break that streak next year and they're not the team that makes the NBA championship. But Donovan Mitchell could see Jalen Brunson get pissed off. Toronto Raptors, they really have no moves to make right now. The Atlanta Hawks can get Jalen Brown. Philly's screwed. They have no moves to make outside their first round pick. That is another team that I haven't. This is the team, the bottom two teams in front of the Miami Heat that could make an interesting, compelling argument to trade for Giannis. The Orlando Magic. Now, would Giannis want to go to Orlando? I don't know. That's on him. I just feel like that's a random spot to be. The Orlando Magic are just kind of in a random area to be playing basketball. You give up Paulo and some picks, and now the Bucks get a 23-year-old 20 point per game scorer who still needs to progress. You give up some other guard. Then you pair Giannis with Franz, who I think could be a closer for him in the mid-range game. I think Franz is good enough to be a side piece to Giannis. You have Wendell, who can space the floor at times, and then you have Desmond Bane. That'd be a pretty naughty starting five if they do make that deal. And then you have the funnest option out of all of them is sending his ass over to Charlotte and just watching them run and gun and do stuff that's so absurd that we can't. They would like they were already like a top three team of mine to watch last year. You put Giannis on the Charlotte Hornets, they would be the most fun watch in the NBA by far because it wouldn't make any. They wouldn't be like I don't know what kind of basketball they'd be playing. They'd be playing track on the basketball court. Like you just have LaMelo
Mhm.
throwing it up there to Giannis. You'd have Khan making threes in the corner. They would have to trade Brandon Miller. So I don't know if they'd be willing to do that. But that NBA draft, whenever Giannis does get traded, I'll either post a clip or we will be doing a pod on that because it's obviously top three player in the league. Getting traded is a big thing. But outside of that, nothing's happened in the NFL recently. So I will turn it over because we are a podcast that talks about the big three in sports. Now, I have not watched any baseball because I have been so focused on the Knicks. So I have to get tuned back into baseball. Starting today, I have to get my mind back into starting watching baseball. I'm not excited about it, but I have to start doing it. So, anything baseball that you would like to get off your chest, any teams you'd like to hype up, any players you'd like to hype up, this is your moment to talk.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to hype up hometown hero Zach Geloff. My brother played travel ball with him growing up, so we were close to this family. He is the league leader in hit streak by 21 games. He's got 11 home runs, hitting 286. I've seen his dad post something on Facebook about the All-Star voting. Obviously it's a fan vote, it's popularity, and most people out there don't know about Zach Geloff,
Well, I mean, if he's batting at
but
286, that's bomb.
his stats are leading for. I mean, you can put him at any position at this point. He's developed outfield now, so
But is
he's
he
played
still
out.
primarily at second base?
He's at third base
Shit.
primarily. Yeah, so he's second, third, and outfield at this point. So he's just getting better as a baseball player. He's batting leadoff tonight, actually. Looks like. So yeah. The Red Sox suck right now. We have the roster, but Roman Anthony's being a crybaby about his wrist. So he's just been on the bench for the past 2 months.
It's his wrist again. Wasn't that the problem he had last year?
His last year was his oblique at the end of the
Uh,
year. Um, Trevor Story's out. Like we're just injured right now. I
the
mean,
usual Red Sox story for the past couple of years. You guys are just injured all the time.
yep. Still got Romy Gonzalez injured. Still got Tanner Huck injured. Christian Campbell's in the minors. Like Tristan Casas hasn't played baseball in 2 years.
Wow.
Garrett Crochet's hurt. Brian Bayo's in the minors because he sucked recently.
Yeah, they sent him down after his pathetic start he had like 2 weeks ago. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, we have this crazy stat where it's like if our pitchers go 6 innings, we're like 20-2.
Hmm.
We've won 29 games, so that tells you how bad the offense is. But yeah, I mean, they're not far off. It's just take it. It just has to get people back. Like Sonny Gray won 7 today, and we lost four
Wow.
to three. Chapman gave up a run. So yeah. But yeah, baseball is baseballing for sure. We'll get into that a little bit more, but especially with the All-Star break coming up.
Yeah. The For those that don't know, I am a San Diego Padres fan. We suck. That's really the main reason I'm not looking forward to diving back into baseball is because over the past 3 weeks we have been miserable. I went to watch us play the Phillies against Aaron Nola and watched Aaron Nola and the combination of the Phillies bullpen shove it down our throat for 9 innings. Manny
Mind you, you
Machado.
guys had just faced you guys had just faced them earlier in the week.
Right. So the yeah, they swept us. They beat us 6 times in a span of 14, not even 4, like 12 days. So that
Yeah,
is
bro.
embarrassing. Over the past month, our offense ranks dead last in every single category that you could possibly think of. Average, home runs, OPS,
Probably probably right in front of the Red Sox, right behind the Red Sox, man.
just
So
absolutely atrocious. Our bullpen has been amazing as it always is. Now here's where it gets interesting being a San Diego Padres fan at this time of year because you are depressed right now watching them play. Everyone and their mom knows that whoever is on the trade block is probably one of the stars is going to end up with the San Diego Padres jersey within the next month. That's something that we've just come to learn now. It's going to happen. We have a lot of prospects who are playing really good ball and getting up there in rankings. We have Schoolcraft, we have Salas. So those two dudes are probably on their way to getting moved. Now, who do we trade for? No idea. I've been seeing reports right now that's really making me nervous is that if Tariq Skubal and the Los Angeles Dodgers, if that happens, I will immediately stop watching baseball very quickly. Um, that would be disgusting. The MLB shouldn't allow that to happen. I hate the Dodgers. They're the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. If they add Tariq Skubal to that madness, that is just unreal. But when it comes to the Padres lineup, Manny Machado's been pedestrian. I mean, I don't know what happened. A lot of Padres fans are complaining that he looks fat and out of shape, that like he doesn't look interested. Xander Bogaerts started off really good. He's been terrible since. Probably I'd say the worst contract in baseball is probably them one and two. Um, Fernando Tatis has actually been like out of everything besides hitting home runs. He has 2 home runs on the year. That is not like Fernando we're used to seeing. Outside of that, he's been really good. He's batting at 284 right now. He leads our team in hits, obviously, as he should. Um, so I can't complain about him too much. It's just sometimes he just I've said it for a couple years now, he looks like he's out there crying, and it really just bothers me watching him. Um, Gavin Sheets has been phenomenal. Ramon Laureano's been injured, but he wasn't good before he was injured. Luis Campusano, who started off really, really good for us, has been injured. He's been on the 10-day, but he's been on the 10-day longer than 10 days. So I don't know what's going on there. Something weird's going on.
hey, 10 day the way that works is it's a minimum. So it's a minimum of 10 days. So if you think he could be ready in like 2 weeks, you put him on the 10 day.
So he's been there for a while. He's been out almost damn near almost his last game he played was last month. So he's been out for a month and some change now. His last game he played was May 5th. So uh hey, more power to him. I don't really know what. So I didn't recognize that he was gone for that long, but he is. Obviously, Mason Miller's out right now. I don't know what he's got going on, but
My die, bro.
he'll he'll be back doing his usual stuff. So we have Mason Miller to look forward to. Outside of that, our team is just terrible to watch,
It
man.
is.
Just it's terrible to watch. The Braves are back to being the Braves. Every single time I check social media, Ronald Acuna is back to being hurt, which is he's starting to become like the Mike Trout of the National League at a certain
I
point.
will say, bro, my favorite player, top five favorite player right now is Drake Baldwin. That guy's a beast, bro. That guy's a beast.
He,
And his swing
yeah,
is so pretty.
yeah. Michael Harris is back to being Michael Harris, by the way. Last year he was batting like a 222. That came out of nowhere because he's usually always been a good contact hitter. He's bumped it back up into the 300s, which Michael Harris has always been one of my favorite players to watch. The St. Louis Cardinals are back to being good at the sport of baseball after their horrendous year that they had last year. And it is strictly top of it is Jordan Walker being an MVP candidate and finally being the prospect that he was rumored to be 3 years ago when they said his hit tool was something that almost like we've never seen. So, and then you have
Yep.
the Phillies who are blazing hot right now. They started off like I think they started off close to the bottom of the league, have been kind of doing their thing. Um, the Nationals fans seem to be having the most fun in baseball. I'm not gonna lie.
I love watching that team play
That's what
baseball.
every time, every single time I hear someone talk about the Nationals right now, they're just talking about how like entertaining the Nationals are to watch and how much fun they seem like they're having. That kind of pisses me off because their two best players are the two dudes that we traded away, and James Wood is, I mean, how hard James Wood hits baseballs is just it's entertaining to watch. Um, in the American League, you have the Yankees being the Yankees. They're good, but they'll find a way to Yankee it.
Judge Judge has been out for almost 2 weeks, and those dudes have like a record of like 14-3.
Ben Rice is playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, Tampa's been good. Seattle's Seattle's
Pitching
only,
dominant.
Seattle's only one game above 500 and they're atop their division. What is going on in that division over there?
Well, the A's were leading that division. The
The
Rangers are
White
all.
Sox are 38 and 34.
The White Sox had won their first series against the Dodgers since 2014. Yeah,
Yo, bro.
that team is also fun to watch.
Yo, bro. White Sox fans got to be having the time of their life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the A's are
The
climbing.
Brewers
The
are on
Blue Jays seem to be somewhat figuring it out. They started off really, 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 really bad. So to see they're only
for
one game
pitching.
below.
They couldn't find a closer, bro. They have Hall of Famer Jeff Hoffman on that team. you know. But they couldn't find a closer. They've blown like 10 games this year, so their record looks as like worse than what it really is to this point. It's just they couldn't figure out who the heck's closing the game. Mason Fluharty from Delaware actually closed the game today against the Red Sox. So
From the freaking Cape All Star team.
yeah, same team as Zach. Yeah, yep.
Just if the Angels, can you please just trade Mike Trout? Can we get this stuff over with, man? Like I want to see him play in the playoffs a couple times and like set let's do the right thing. Adolis Garcia, who was getting hot actually, so I feel bad for him. Um, Adolis Garcia's out for like the next 2 months. Can we just do the right thing and send him to Philadelphia, please? That's where he wants to be at. That's where he should be at. He'd be playing in the playoffs. That would be electric to watch. Let's just send him to Philly.
Jose Ramirez also fractured his hamate bone. For people that don't know, it's a little small bone in your wrist about right here. And it happens when you swing, obviously the knob, but you can't fix it, so you have to remove it. So that could be a lingering injury that could alter Jose Ramirez's success going forward, especially being a switch hitter. So
Yeah,
I don't know how long he'll be out for, but right now he's on the 10-day IL. But like we said, that just means it's a
he'll be
10-day.
there.
He could be there for the rest of the year. He could be there. Yeah. So
The
practice his handmade.
the Baltimore Orioles are kind of stuck in pedestrian area. I don't know what. It's just
Pitching and inconsistent offense. They play really well at home,
that's
but
been their dude. That's been their problem for pitching. Has been their problem for so like back when they had Adam Jones, Manny Machado, JJ Hardy, all those dudes, they're like that fun team that everyone used to watch. That pitching was awful. Like that's why they couldn't win anything. Like for them to have this problem 10 years later and still not figure out the pitching side of it, it's kind of
given
crazy.
they just give up on people too early. Like
Right.
obviously they had Grayson Rodriguez for a little bit, and he was good when he first got there.
They didn't bring Corbin back, who obviously hasn't
Yep.
pitched in a while, but
Right, exactly. Like injuries and just giving up on people too early.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
um, that's pretty much all we had to break down. Um, I don't think it's coincidence that we started this podcast and the first time in 19 years, one of my teams is finally winning a championship. And after 53 years, the Knicks did it. So there's a team with a star that hasn't won it in about 20 years. That's due
Buddy,
at some
no.
point. That's
No, no,
that's
no, no.
due at some point.
No.
Um, we'll be back soon. The NBA draft obviously is next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. I recommend you tune in. Giannis is also probably getting traded soon, so that next time we show up, it will be to talk about more baseball. We'll also obviously be talking about the NBA draft and Giannis, but for as of right now, for as of right now, it's forever go Knicks. Peace.